Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Hormonal Mama podcast. I've been on hiatus for about 6 weeks now, but I'm back with brand new episodes for the next few months. Today, I am talking with Irene Makriplis. Now, you may recognize that name because Irene was the very first person that I ever interviewed for my podcast. So it's been about a little more than a year since you heard from her on my podcast. Today, we are actually talking about a collaboration that we worked on together for Mother's Day 2022. Now, our goal, which you'll hear in our conversation coming right up, with this collaboration is to target women who are currently pregnant. Yes, women who are currently pregnant and expecting their first child. Now, if you or anyone you know is currently pregnant or has been through infertility and is currently pregnant, you will want to listen to this episode because we have an amazing gift box that we put together for all new moms and all new moms to be. So listen in, it's an excellent episode, and I mean, it's exciting to hear from Irene again. So I'll see you in a sec. Hi, Irene. Welcome back to the show. I'm so excited that you're here with me again. So welcome back.
Hi, Cara. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here again with you. I'm definitely looking forward to this, and it's not so much new anymore, but you know, I'm a little more comfortable with you now.
Awesome. I know. I think it is the coolest thing that I'm interviewing you again. You know, I'm always talking to people and I'm always like, and we'll do another interview. And not that we never get around to it. It's just, you know, life is crazy.
I know.
And it's very hard to like get on a schedule. So I'm so excited for multiple reasons. One, how fun to interview you again. But two, I'm psyched because we are collaborating on a project that we've been working on for a little while now that is coming out very soon. Yes. And I know that we really want to talk about that today because, well, hello, it's awesome. So I really want, you know, I know the last time that I interviewed you, we talked a lot about your amazing businesses, Lullaby Me and Irene Organics, and you have a new one now, Academy of Sleep and Parenting, which I'm so excited about. I'm always seeing your posts. You do so many things, and I
really do.
So inspiring, and I love it.
I'm a jack of all trades for sure.
Yes, you know, I have to tell you, Irene, why that's so funny. I've always called myself a Jill of all trades, and everyone's always like, okay,
I like that better.
Isn't that funny? And so when you just said that, I was like, yes, because it's true. You do such incredible things and you're so passionate about all these things that you do.
I really am. Yeah.
And that's just such an amazing thing. And it's such a rarity to find. So let's talk a little bit about today, about our gift box that we are working on, our Mama to Be gift box that is releasing just in time for Mother's Day.
Yes.
And I'm psyched. I mean, I know I've been working my butt off. I know you've been working your butt off. So let's just talk about it. Tell me, you know, I mean, I know what you're putting in our gift box, but I don't know that our listeners know. So tell me a little bit about what you're putting in our gift box.
Sure. So my number one favorite product, my top seller actually is my belly balm.
Which is amazing, by the way.
I originally created it while I was pregnant. I had tried so many different creams and stretch mark prevention, balms, and all these different things. And I have super sensitive skin. Yeah. And I would say about 90% of the things that I try don't end well. I usually break out with a rash. I get itchy. I break out in acne. Like there's always something going on with my skin. I'm so sensitive. And I was like, you know what? I really can't keep doing this. Let me try making something of my own. And it you know, didn't start out as a business. I was like, oh, I'm just going to make it for myself because I'll know what's in it and it'll be all natural, all organic, and it'll be what works for me. And I must have experimented with like 10 different formulas. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pick the best one and keep working on it and, you know, adjust it as I go. And I started really enjoying making these belly balms by hand. I love that. And you know, I finally found something that I could rub on my belly and not have a reaction.
Oh, and that's a huge deal.
That's super rare for me. And I was like, this is my go-to from now on. And I was like, you know what, if I'm like this, how many other women out there are like that, you know, have super sensitive skin, especially during pregnancy where you don't want to put on toxins and parabens and preservatives onto your skin, and you don't want that soaking into your body. So I was like, you know what? I have to start selling this.
Totally.
And I started making them in big batches, and it's really just blown up. I mean, people are loving it. And even now that I'm not pregnant anymore, I use it every day.
Yes.
And I even use it as like an all over body moisturizer. I use it on my arms, on my legs, on like literally everywhere. And I'm even using it on my baby because I'm like, I know it's in it, you know?
Yeah, it totally came from you. You 100%
Yeah.
know. I know exactly what's in this. There's no question.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
fear.
And
So
the best
cool.
part is now I have the proof that I got pregnant. I used my belly balm every day. I gave birth. I don't have one stretch mark.
Oh, so jealous.
Clearly effective too.
Oh my God. It's and I know because I've used it. Back when we first connected, you sent it to me, and gosh, I love it. And you even said that you've improved it since then, which is like, how could you possibly improve something?
I've found better quality. I'm using the same ingredients, but better quality ingredients. I noticed my earlier formula was very clumpy. I couldn't figure out a way how to get like the coconut oil and the shea butter to smooth out together. And I just realized that I needed to work with a different coconut oil. And ever since I started using a different coconut oil, it's like super smooth now. So I'm like, okay, I found the solution.
So
now I've perfected it. What I love about it too is that it comes in a glass jar. So it's eco-friendly. It doesn't need any preservatives, you know, it's good the way it is. And it's just amazing because the ingredients that are in it really helps seal in all these vitamin E ingredients and essential fatty omegas. And it's just so good for our skin. It improves collagen and improves elasticity. And I don't know about you, but my skin was so itchy from stretching. And I finally like found something that would relieve that. And it's like, at the end of the day, my skin would crave it. It would just say, hydrate me, you know?
Yes. Oh, totally. Because that's exactly what happened to me. I was so itchy, especially, I have a ton of stretch marks because I could barely move in my pregnancy. I was like, I'm not doing anything. Oh, no. I also didn't have stretch marks until 4 days before my children were born. So luck did not strike me at the end of my pregnancy.
It's okay.
But that itching was the worst.
I think that's the worst part.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because your skin is expanding and it's just getting so dry from the stretching. And there's an ingredient I use a lot, calendula, and it really just helps soothe the skin. And it's just like, literally you put it on and you're like, oh, that feels so good, you know?
Oh, totally. You know, I just have to interject because I totally, I have too many words in my mouth. I'm so excited. It's just crazy because, okay, let me actually make a sentence that makes sense. I can relate so very much on two levels. One, with the pregnancy, because, you know, you said it, sister, the itching. Oh my God. There are a lot of things about pregnancy that are not fun. I'm going to be the first to tell anybody that. But that itching, that skin feeling completely like, oh, what is happening? Even though you know what's happening, it's awful. So I totally relate to that. The other side of it is in terms of making these products, you know, I can relate. Before I was pregnant, and I'll talk about my stuff in a minute. I don't want to interrupt you, but it's so amazing when you find that motivation because of your own experience. I started in 2016. I had an accident. I fell down the stairs, completely destroyed my right shoulder, and I couldn't work because I'm a massage therapist. That's my original profession. And I could not work for over a year. I had to have surgery. It was all crazy. And I couldn't do anything because I couldn't use my dominant arm. And I was like, what am I going to do? And I started making, these Epsom salt bath soaks for myself, because I was like, all right, if I can submerge my shoulder in here, that might help. And it did. It started helping. So I started making more bath salts, and I started making bath bombs, and I took myself, because we're so much alike, you'll appreciate this. I took myself on a journey of making things. I was making muscle balms because I was like, I'm a massage therapist. I know how the body works. I know what muscles need. And then that went into soap making. And then I started making these roll-on oils using essential oils because that was part of my training, was in aromatherapy. And
Yeah.
it all started in this instance because of an injury, and I couldn't
Right.
work, but I wanted to treat the injury. And so I totally feel what you're talking about with treating pregnancy is not an injury, but an issue that arose because of
Right.
pregnancy, and you want to deal with it. You don't want to be miserable walking around like, oh my God,
Exactly.
because that itching can be painful.
Oh, it could drive you crazy.
Absolutely. Oh, it drove me crazy plenty of
Yeah.
times. There were a lot of
And
nights where I was like,
especially I was super pregnant in the winter too. So the winter alone dries out your skin. And I
oh
was like walking around 9 months pregnant in the middle of winter. And I was like, this has got to go.
yeah, can't do this anymore. How can we nip this in the bud? I just think that's super, super awesome. And you've really blown up. Irene Organics
I can't believe it.
it's incredible. And it's so,
Yes.
it's inspiring, but it's also exciting. It's exciting to see someone, a woman who is a mom who is like, I am going to make this for
Mhm.
myself. And you know what? I'm going to see if other people can use it. And you know what? Other people have used it and have
Yes.
continued to use it and have told their friends to use it. And it's just, it's
Exactly.
such an inspiring thing on so many levels. So
Thank
anyway,
you.
woohoo, yay, Irene.
So that's my belly balm. And it's definitely my top seller and my favorite product, like I said. But you definitely have to slather it and kind of let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes because it is like a beeswax base.
Right.
And it's because it's so hydrating, it does kind of linger on the skin a little. So
Mhm.
for people who don't have the time for the balm or don't want to, sit there for 20 minutes letting their skin dry, I also have the belly oil. And not that many people go for the belly oil, but it's also so amazing because it's not like a typical oil that you would think. Um, it's not super greasy, it's not thick. I wanted to make something not only effective for stretch marks and itching, but super lightweight and just something that absorbs quickly and you can get on the go. You hop
Yeah.
out of the shower, you rub it on your belly or wherever, and you throw your clothes on and you're out. You don't have to sit there and let it soak in.
Right.
So it hydrates into your skin and soaks into your skin almost immediately. And it still has the same effect as the belly balm. So I love the oils so much too. And I actually was like designing even just the packaging for so long because I would get some oils and it was like, okay, the dropper or a spray and it would leak. And I was like, there's got to be an easier way.
Yeah,
And
totally.
I found a treatment pump and I was like, this is genius. It's not messy. The way it just pumps out and squirts out just perfectly. You get the perfect amount.
Totally.
It's almost genius. I mean, I hate to toot my own horn, but I'm like, this
No,
is the
toot
best
your own
way
horn. Do
to
it.
applicate an oil. So
Yes.
not only is the oil amazing, but the application is amazing too.
You're so right with those treatment pumps because they measure out such a perfect amount.
Yes.
It's not too much because some, regular pumps, you could be like, oh my gosh. And then you're like, I barely touched it and it's
Exactly.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But those treatment pumps, because they're so much
It's so
smaller.
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And oil, it's really tough because,
Yes.
and I
you
know,
know what?
again, as a
Yeah.
massage therapist, I know I use
Yes.
a lot of
Yes.
like fractionated coconut oil, and man, sometimes I'm like, okay, let me wipe some of this
Exactly.
off on the
So
sheet.
messy.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. That's
And
awesome.
yeah, I mean
Yeah.
those are my two top sellers. I love them. I still use them every day. And what's great about the belly oil is that even though the ingredients are, it's made for stretch marks and for itching, you can use it for anything. It's a great just daily moisturizer or even a bath oil. I throw some into my baby's bath. It's a great all around oil just in general. And it lasts a long time too. The belly balm, I go through like crazy. I won't lie. I mean, I must go through a huge jar at least once a month.
Wow.
The belly oil lasts a while.
Yeah.
So a little goes a long way.
So awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I just think it's, I think it's neat. Neat. That's so not the word I mean to use. I sound like I'm from the Brady Bunch.
Amazing.
It's amazing. But it is. It's so cool that I think it's, how can I word my thought here? I think it's amazing that you came up with a product that works for you, but then you kind of said, all right, I'm going to take this product and I'm going to keep it because it's so fantastic. People love it. here's another option. Here's
Right.
a spin on it, if you will,
Right.
that's just as incredible.
Exactly.
And I'm just so,
Because different people like different things. So, you know,
yes,
it solves the
100%.
same problem, but in a different way.
Exactly. And that to me is so smart,
Mhm.
because, one of those tough things with pregnancy, at least in my experience, is something that maybe I'm going to kind of equate it to, how your tastes change when you're pregnant, right?
Yeah.
And like things that you used to love, you're like, that's disgusting. And
Yes.
things that you used to really not like, you're like, that sounds amazing. And there was a
Mhm.
lot of that for me. I love tortilla chips. I couldn't look at them. I couldn't smell them. I was like, this is the most disgusting thing. Scrambled eggs, one of my favorite things. Every time I thought of scrambled eggs, I was like, oh no,
Oh my
no,
gosh, that was me too. Except that
right?
mine was hard-boiled eggs.
Uh,
I was like,
Another
I
favorite.
can't look at one.
That's what I'm telling you. Every time I thought of scrambled eggs, I couldn't smell them. I couldn't see them. I couldn't talk about them. Oh, it was so weird. But why did I even mention that? I had a point. I promise. I really
How
did.
things change when you're
Oh,
pregnant.
yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
See, thank you for paying attention, because my train of thought is always going somewhere other than where I intend for it to go. And I was going to say, it's kind of the same thing, really, when you think about your products, because they offer the exact same solution in different ways. And yes, we're
Right.
all different. And I think it's just so interesting because, again, even with pregnancy, something that you might think, okay, this would feel really great on my skin, you might be like, but guess what? There's another option for you.
Exactly.
And that's just so smart. So
Mhm.
smart. Okay. So those two things are in the gift basket, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then
And I
I
have
know,
one more thing.
yes, I want to hear it, because, well, I know exactly what it
So,
is, but
it's not a skincare product. It's not my brand. However, it's something that I've been pretty much obsessed with for a very long time. Cozy fuzzy socks.
they are the best
They're
thing in the
just
whole world.
something about them. I would not be able to live without them.
Same here.
I have very just constant cold, dry feet, and I just love the softness. I go to sleep with them. My whole house is like tiled, so the floor is pretty cold, and I
Mhm.
hate like having to wear shoes or slippers in the house. I love being like kind of barefoot, so the socks are my go-to. And
Totally.
I think it's just a great add-on for a mom to be.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And when you first told me that idea, I was like,
I know you were
hello,
like,
you
yes,
are preaching the choir
fuzzy
here.
socks.
I mean, I'm looking over right now. I have so many pairs of fuzzy socks. I have fuzzy
Same.
socks. I have knee-high fuzzy socks. I have a bunch of pairs of the one that looks like Dr. Seuss Cat in the Hat
That's so
style
funny.
with crazy stripes. I have ankle fuzzy socks. I have like mid-calf fuzzy socks.
Mhm.
It's always been a gift from my husband. It's part of his stocking stuffer for Christmas.
Yeah,
Is every year is fuzzy socks of some
that's so
kind.
cute.
So you totally touched my soul when you mentioned it the first time. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
And I
"Hmm."
love that. And I have the same issue with the cold feet. I mean,
Yeah.
every single night I put my cold feet on my husband's legs and he's like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, nope, give me your body heat. I need it.
That sounds like
And
me.
it's just right all the time. It's ridiculous. And I feel very bad for my poor husband's legs. I steal his body heat whenever I can. But I just love that, because I think you're totally right. When you're pregnant,
You just
I mean,
want
that's,
comfort.
yeah, exactly. That's all you
Basically.
want. You feel miserable so often
Yeah.
in pregnancy that, gosh, what can you do for yourself? Well, you can make yourself feel good.
Yeah.
And how do you do that? Well, do things for your
Yeah.
body.
Self-care.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Good.
Self-care, man. I could talk about self-care all day.
I know.
And something as simple as fuzzy socks, that's self-care right there,
Mhm.
because you're doing
Mhm.
something nice for yourself. And
Exactly.
I'm just, I don't know. I just love that when you first told me about the fuzzy socks, I was like, yeah, that needs to be in there.
Yes.
I'm really excited because I think that the things that we're each contributing to this gift box really complement each other.
Yeah.
Some of the things that I've been working on, we're so much alike, Irene. It's so ridiculous. So, I told you that story about falling down the stairs and I was like, oh,
Yes.
all right, guess I'm starting a new business. And I did. I started this Bath and Body, what do I call it? Bath and Body by Cara B.
Oh, cute.
I know. I thought it was so much fun at the time. I was always like, "Ooh, I like that." And I took my logo So I had two businesses at the time. I had a different handmade business where I was sewing and I was making handbags and wallets. And that business started, surprise, surprise, after an injury. I had herniated a disc in my back and I couldn't walk. My husband had to take me to the emergency room one night. I spent the entire weekend in the hospital until they finally did an MRI, saw, oh, look at that, you have a herniated disc. Well,
wonderful.
guess what?
Jeez.
I had known that for like 10 years at that point.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day. That's a day we can bash healthcare, but we won't talk about that.
I could go on and on about that too.
I know you can relate to the back issues too.
Oh yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I know we've had that conversation.
Yeah. 3 herniated discs over here.
My gosh. I mean, right? It's ridiculous. So
is.
you totally get it. And that was when I first found out, okay, this is what's going on. No wonder I can't really feel my legs and I can't stand up straight. I was like leaned, like it felt like I had a pole in my back. Your whole body. It totally does.
Yeah.
And you know, I at that point I thought, okay, well, I can't massage people again. And well, not again. This was 6 years before my shoulder. But it was a situation where I thought, what am I going to do? And I had sort of taken up sewing, but hand stitching. I was just hand stitching stuff. And my mom, who's been sewing since she was like 5, and she's always like made her own clothes. And I never really thought I wanted to sew. She said to me, I think you'd enjoy this more than you think. And I was like, I don't know, Mom. And she's like, I really do. And she told me for years. But for my 30th birthday, my friends knew that I was like really getting into sewing and there was something really fun about it. So they bought me a gift certificate to Joann Fabric. It all chipped in together. So I bought my first sewing machine. I taught myself how to sew based on the booklet for the sewing machine. My mom was like, you need to take a sewing class. She's like, I will pay for it. And I will drive you, but you need to do that because you're going to love this. And she was right. And I fell in love. I had this obsession with fabric. And when I say obsession, that's putting it mildly. I can't even begin to count how much fabric I have in our storage unit. It used to be in my sewing studio and it took up most of the room. It was ridiculous. But anyway, I say all that because one of the things that I was making at the time were these scented eye pillows that I was filling with dried lavender and dried chamomile and dried peppermint and dried spearmint and making all of these combinations. And people were loving them because it's so simple. Heat it up in the microwave, freeze it if you want to, or keep it room temperature. You just stick it on your eyes and you're like, you breathe in whatever that herb is. And they all have these incredible benefits, whether it's in essential oil form or dried herb form or fresh herb or whatever. And so that kind of became like a thing that I was making. And that's why I thought, what a great addition to our gift box, right? Because what else does a mom to be need than relaxation?
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
And I showed you the fabric that I got, and I know we're both really excited about it because it's really pretty.
It is so gorgeous.
So like I made one for myself as like my extra, and I'm like, I keep putting it on my eyes and I'm like, this is nice.
Oh man.
And I love it
as one for myself.
Right? It's exactly like I can't help myself. I just love it. And so it's just, you know, I mentioned that story of how I started sewing because, you know, I talked about why I started making these bath and body products. And so what I decided, what would be another really cool thing to add to our basket is a lavender roll-on oil. So I'm really excited. I don't have it right in front of me. I was going to show it to you, but guess what? I
saw them on your Instagram story. They look so cute. Good. Oh my gosh.
Awesome.
So cute.
And I've got my husband over here handing it to me. So I put an actual dried lavender sprig on the inside. I just thought it looked so pretty because when I used to make these, I was always wanting to put whatever the scent was. Like I made jasmine roll-on oils. I made what am I thinking? Neroli roll-on oils. And I'd get all these dried flowers, rose, and I put them all in. But what was happening is they were floating to the top. And that's okay. But I didn't like how it looked. I just thought, it just doesn't have that same elegant look to it.
Right.
So this time, revamping it, I was like, I'm getting dried lavender sprigs and I'm going to trim them to fit in the bottle.
There you
Darn it.
go.
And I did it. And I'm so
Nice.
happy. And I keep
It came out so beautifully.
I'm so happy with how it turned out. I can't even begin to tell you. And it's simple because it's pregnancy safe. I have a little recipe book that I made years ago for all of my Bath and Body products, but of course it's in storage and we don't know what box it's in. So I had to sort of recreate my formula, and I made it so that anyone can use it. It's safe for pregnancy, because with essential oils, there are some that aren't safe for pregnancy,
Right.
but there are some that are safe, but in a lower amount.
Yes.
And lavender is one of the ones where it's totally safe in pregnancy, but if you go over a certain amount, then it can make you really nauseous.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
Totally.
So I'm super excited that I was able to formulate it in such a way that it's perfectly safe. I've been using it on myself the past few days because I've been very stressed, because for any of you listeners who don't know, both Irene and I have little ones. I have almost 3-year-old twins, and they're insane people lately. And so mommy's been like, where's the lavender oil? Let me rub it on my wrist. I put it behind my ears. I've been putting it just under my nose, and it's been really helping. So
nice.
Yeah, I'm like, yay, lavender roll-on oil. I used to hate lavender. I love lavender now.
Really? I love lavender.
I don't understand how I could have ever not liked it. And I mean, like, I hated it. I was like, ew, lavender, ew. And now I'm like,
actually, now that you say it, I didn't like it a very long time ago. But I always had a really bad case of insomnia, and I never slept well. And then I discovered essential oils, and I was like, you know what? I should really try to use some. And there was a blend with lavender, and I did notice that I would sleep so good when I would diffuse it. And I was like, well, it kind of really works. I mean, and then I became obsessed, and I ended up loving the smell.
It's so funny that you say that, because that is one of the things that's so crazy to me about essential oils. I mean, I've taken a lot of aromatherapy continuing education courses in my massage and skincare careers. And I love the science behind aromatherapy, because, you think to yourself, oh, something smells really nice. That's great. But you don't realize the effect that it has on your body, specifically essential oils. Exactly. It's such a fascinating branch of science.
Yeah.
And, like, I would never claim to be an aromatherapist, and I have too many other things on my plate to go back to school to become an aromatherapist. But the knowledge that I have makes me feel so good about, in particular, something like lavender, because of its safety for almost anybody. It's a very rare case that lavender
even children and babies. Yeah. I use a lavender roll-on with my son all the time.
I love that. I mean, it's just, I just love it. I'm so excited. Okay. Don't mind me. I get so excited. I can't contain myself, and I have to like, it's so great. And then, the other really, really cool thing, and this was actually, you're probably going to laugh, because the first time I interviewed you, over a year ago, I had this idea for this gift box concept. I didn't have all the details, but it was in my mind of collaborating with you because of Irene Organics and these incredible products that you had made, knowing that, okay, we're a lot alike in terms of, we both are passionate about skincare. And the cool thing, which is why I got so excited, is that our passion for skincare is about two different parts of skincare. You know what I mean? Like, my passion for skincare is facial skin, and that's because I'm a licensed esthetician. I have worked for years with women going through pregnancy, postpartum, even fertility, and the hormonal craziness that can really mess up your skin. And I thought it was so cool that we both have this love of skincare, but it's kind of neat that yours is so focused on the body, especially the belly. And I mean, I know that's not those aren't the only products you make. You really focus on other things as well, which, gosh, this is so cool. But it was particularly one product of mine that stuck in my mind a year ago that I thought would be really cool to collaborate on. And that was my facial oil. And I am super psyched to be including it in this gift box, because I am a convert. Okay. I was never interested in oil cleansers or facial oils simply
Mhm.
because I was like, who puts oil on their face?
Yeah.
That seems counterintuitive. And this is coming from a licensed esthetician who knows better. But I digress. I totally was like, I would never wash my face with an oil cleanser, except that's all I use now. Not all I use. I use a combination. But um, I love the concept of facial oils because there's so many different companies that make incredible facial oils that I thought to myself, I want one that really focuses on, like I said, these issues that women go through with their
Yes.
skin. So I'm psyched because my facial oil has, 8 different oils in it. And the great thing is that it's not specifically dry skin or oily skin. It can work on any skin type depending on how
Amazing.
much you use.
Oh,
So
cool.
even if you have excessively oily skin, you can still use this facial oil and it's not going to cause your skin to be even oilier. You just
Mhm.
have to use it the right way. And same with dry skin. I mean, oil, what am I saying? Facial oils are great for dry skin.
Yeah.
But if you use too much, your skin's like, I took what I needed. Why are you giving me more? No.
Yeah.
And then you start like having all kinds of
Interesting.
issues. Yeah. Skin is such a
Wow.
fascinating concept.
It really is.
It is. I mean, when I first went to aesthetic school, gosh, what were we talking about? 2003, aging myself here. And I was completely like, I had already graduated massage school about a year before, and I had all this, initial knowledge about the skin, right? My massage program was really focused on the muscular system and the skeletal system. That was
Mhm.
the meat and potatoes of the course. I mean, don't get me wrong, we also learned all the body systems. But then it was really cool with skincare because we covered all the body systems, but focused on the integumentary system, the skin.
Mhm.
And gosh, I learned so much then. Oh my God, it's insane.
Wow.
And all these years later, I just think about what am I trying to say? What can I do to help people really care for their skin? And, like you, pregnancy is a very passionate subject for me.
Yes.
Like I spent such a long time going through infertility, really to have failure after failure after failure. And I finally got pregnant and I was like, wait, what? And my
Yeah.
skin was a disaster. Oh my God, I can't even begin to tell you.
Oh my
And
gosh, mine too.
right? I have pretty good skin. Like my skin is, for the most
You
part,
do. It's
I'm
like
super
flawless.
lucky. I know everyone tells me that, and I'm like, okay, what? And then I look in the mirror, I'm like, your skin is pretty good, Cara. And it's kind of shocking, but when I was pregnant, there was
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
nice about it. My nose was red all the time, right around
Oh.
my nostrils, always red. It was red
Oh, I
on my
had that
chin.
too.
Oh, it was the worst.
I don't
And
even know
some of
what that's
that's,
from.
I mean, some of it's due to swelling because, all of
Yeah.
your blood vessels are like, we can't get
Yeah.
blood where it needs to go fast enough.
Oh.
And, and I also had preeclampsia, so I had even
Oh,
more
no.
swelling and my body
Oh.
was just a disaster during pregnancy. But, one of the things that I think, how can I word what I'm saying, is magical. I know that sounds so cheesy, and I know I use a lot of really cheesy words. I do. I use magical, powerful. All of these are words that I use all the time, but it's true. And I feel like there is magic and I think you can understand this, when you are dealing with a skin issue, right? Like
Mhm.
you were talking about, like that insane itching with the stretch marks, and
Right.
everything. I think it's just magic when this is an issue that you feel like it's taking over my life. I can't focus on anything else. And then you have a solution. And that's one of the reasons why my facial oil is something I love so much, because gosh, it feels so good to put it on at the end of your skincare routine. I mean, I
Oh,
always say, put your moisturizer on, then put your facial oil on and you're good to go. And it just feels so nice and
yeah.
so
Oh,
refreshing to
I love
just
that
finish up
feeling.
and be like, okay, I'm good.
Good. Ready.
And
I'm ready
that
for relaxation.
is, that's exactly why I think our gift box is so perfect,
I'm
because
so excited on
right?
that. Oh,
Me
I
too. I
can't.
can't wait. I'm so excited. I've been like every day, I'm like, yay, I get to make more stuff. I can't believe we're doing this.
Yes.
Nobody needs to hear me sing, but my apologies to everyone. But yeah, I'm really excited about it. And I think that it's just such a fun project that we're working on together. And I think that it's really something that's going to really help new mamas, or I should say mamas to be, because being pregnant is hard enough. Take care of yourself, do something to treat yourself, and the combination of these 6 things that are in this gift box is just like, it's like a little mini retreat. And I'm really big on little mini retreats and things like that. And like, here's your little sneak peek into a little mini retreat from pregnancy. So I'm psyched. Now,
me too.
Irene, I'm going to switch gears here for a minute, and I'm going to give you my questions, my podcast guest questions, which you've answered before. And I told you this the other day. I think it's going to be really, really fun to answer the questions and then look back on your first episode, which was my very first guest ever. So exciting. And I think it'll be really fun to kind of see if your answers are the same or similar. So let's get to the questions. So number 1, this is the deeper question, and it is, who are the 3 most inspirational or influential people that you either currently have in your life or have had? It doesn't even have to be they don't even have to be people that you know. So it's really just, who are your 3 most influential, inspirational people?
Now that you asked me, I actually do remember my answer to our last interview. And I remember it being my mom. And
I remember that.
My mom was diagnosed with breast cancer at a really young age. And she passed away when I was 15. But within those first, those whole 15 years that I had with her, she was so inspirational to me. And she really taught me what it was to be a strong, independent woman. My mom was the rock. She was not only battling cancer, she worked full time. She was an amazing mother. She came home, she cooked every night. She kept the house spotless. And I just look back and I'm like, how did she do it all? And I think about what I do now, and this like drive that I have, this entrepreneurial mindset, I don't think I would have had if she didn't raise me the way she did. And I owe a lot of it to her. So she's definitely my number 1 inspiration, even though she's not with me anymore. She is, she is always with me, honestly.
Absolutely.
And the other 2 people, definitely my husband. He is, it really makes a huge difference when you have a partner who is so supportive of everything you do. Other people might think your ideas are dumb or stupid, or they might fail. And, when you have a partner that, tells you, you can do this, keep going. I see that you love it. And it makes just a huge difference in your world. And having that strong partner next to you, it's an amazing feeling, and it keeps me going.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to cry.
And the third person, even though he's a tiny little peanut, is totally my son. And before becoming a mom, I definitely have, I had the drive and the ambition. And I thought when I got pregnant that, I'm going to become a mom now. I'm going to be so tired and exhausted all the time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep up. And since having my son, I've started 2 new businesses. And there's just something about having him and watching him grow that drives me even more. And he might not be, he can't even communicate yet he's my everything. He's my inspiration for it all. Everything I do for him.
Oh, I mean, I get that so deeply, and I just love that. And it's one of those things no one prepared me for, that when you become a mom, your little people, they inspire you in ways you didn't think possible.
Yeah.
And
totally.
they motivate you, and you didn't expect, like, I thought the same thing.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I'm going to have no time. I'm going to be tired and no sleep. And I'm like, wow, I'm doing like 20 more things than I was before I became a mom.
I mean, exactly. It's crazy how much we are like, it blows my mind every time I talk to you, but it's so true. And I just think that's so wonderful. And I'm going to go with my cheesy words again and say beautiful, but it is a beautiful thing. And I love that he's on your list. I think that's just amazing. Okay. now we're going to go with my second question, which makes people scratch their heads sometimes. And it's a weird one, but I love it because it is so different. And I just love hearing people's answers to both of these questions. But this one I like hearing because I think you can get so creative with this answer. So if you could have, and I always say dinner party, doesn't have to be a dinner party. If you don't like dinner parties, it can be any type of gathering that you want. I tell people you can go sit on the beach and drink some water. You can take a walk. You can do whatever you want. You can go visit a museum, whatever it is. Okay. With 3 people. But I'm going to say people in quotes because they don't have to be people. We'll get back to that in a second. These 3 beings, if you will, they can be dead or alive, fictional or real. They can be related to you. They don't have to be. They can be characters in a book. I've had people have characters in a book. I've had people have ghosts and spirits at their dinner party. I've had people invite, it's been like a year, but I asked myself these same questions. I interviewed myself for my podcast last year. I was like, I'm going to interview myself. And I had a whole conversation with myself. It was very strange. And I asked myself this question and I invited a dragonfly because I love dragonflies and they're just a really important thing to me. And it was so random, but it popped into my head and I was like, I would love to have a dragonfly. Maybe they could talk. So you get to be super creative, but you don't have to either. That's the fun of it, is you can be way out there with who or what you invite, or it can be really simple. I mean, I've had people I had one person invite the same 3 people that were her influential people. I've had people invite anything they could possibly imagine. And I've had them invite characters from Disney movies, from books. It's really, the world is your oyster in this one. Like it's be as creative or not as you want. I know it's a really hard question.
I'm probably not going to be as out there as some other people.
And that's okay.
I'm probably going to be really like boring and basic, but
it's not boring. It's not boring at all. Whatever it is.
I'm not going to put like exact names to it, but I would love to kind of just pick the brains of like really successful entrepreneurs and business people. Like maybe even like, those entrepreneurs that are on Shark Tank.
Oh, totally.
I would love to just like sit down and be like, okay, give it to me. Like, give me your business strategy and tell me all your secrets.
I love that. Oh my God. I love that because I love Shark Tank and I haven't watched it in a while, but my husband and I used to really love watching it. And I'd always be like, how do these people have these such brilliant ideas and then go on the show and not break down in tears because they forgot what they were about to say? Like, that's what would happen to me. I'd be like, hi sharks. And I'm fainting. Yeah, what? Like, I don't even know. So I love that answer.
I know. I watched some episodes and I'm like, wow, these are genius ideas.
All the time. I am always in awe. Like I always think to myself, oh, Cara, you just had a great idea. Write it down. Oh, that's brilliant. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of that idea. And then I'll watch something like Shark Tank and I'll be like, my idea was dumb. And they have a great idea here. What? Right? It's so ridiculous. That always happens to me. I'll be like, this is so innovative. And it's not. It's like, maybe not, it's a horrible idea, but it's certainly not innovative or anything all that interesting. And then I see the people on the show and I'm like, why can't my brain be like theirs? I need to know how they got these ideas. Brilliant.
Right.
I just love that because I'm totally with you.
Yeah. I'm a total like business freak, business finance. I'm like, I have my business degree and I'm always thinking like, okay, strategy, marketing, numbers. It's just constantly flowing in my brain.
I wish. I'm the total opposite of you in that respect. I'm like, marketing, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Numbers, 5. There's a number. Like I just have no clue. I even went, I didn't go away to college. I went to a really great community college in my area. It's actually one of the best in the country, which is cool because everyone always poo-poos community colleges. And I'm like, they're awesome though. They're amazing.
They are actually. I did a community college my first 2 years.
And they're fantastic. And I took a class. What was it called? Small business management.
Oh, I took it too.
It's so great, right? And I took this class with no intention of ever starting a business. I really, at this point, I was like, I don't want that responsibility. Are you kidding me? I'm never starting a business. I don't know why anyone would ever start a business. And I took it mostly because I needed the credits. And I thought, but I could learn some really important stuff. And it really, I'm trying to remember, I think at the time no, that came later. Oh, you know what it was? I'm forgetting myself here. I used to work at a research foundation. I was two things. I was administrative assistant to the CEO. Well, I was an executive assistant, but he just didn't want to give me that title. But I was also a research study coordinator, and we studied schizophrenia, and it was fascinating stuff. I know, it was completely incredible and amazing, but part of my job was managing the office, and I sucked at it. And I mean, I sucked at it badly. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. It was terrible. So I took this small business management class in the hopes of like learning a little bit so that maybe I could like be better at my job. And the crazy thing is, even though so much of it, I was like, I don't understand that. I have no idea what he's saying here. And that I don't get at all. But I ended up managing another, a wellness center before I started my business. And so much of what I learned in that class came in handy while managing the wellness center. And then that I brought all of that when I decided, I do want to be an entrepreneur. I do want my own business. I have never looked back, and that was 2014. And I think about it now, and I'm like, that was 8 years ago.
Wow.
And I have never, ever worked for someone else since then. I've only worked for myself. Now, granted, I've also had multiple businesses because, God forbid I stick with one thing ever. But again, you can relate to that.
Definitely.
And it's so funny to me how like business is not my thing. It like owning a business is one thing, but like the business mind that you have, not me. I mean, gosh, when I look at marketing, I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't understand a thing about it. As fascinating as it all is, because it really is super ultra fascinating, but me, I was like, I don't get it. Anyway, I interrupted you. I totally went off on a tangent. But so would that be your dinner party? Is
for sure the Shark Tank entrepreneurs.
I mean, how cool would that be though? What a great opportunity.
Jeff Bezos too.
Oh yeah, I mean, come on. Like, you want to learn some business stuff.
Give me your business model, man.
Tell me the details. Let me get my pen and paper. Oh, you want to tell me more? Let me get my computer. Let me just type it all up here.
Yes. How do we take over the world?
Yeah. Let's talk, man. Jeff Bezos, if you're listening, Irene would like to talk to you.
Yes, please.
How cool would that be? What a great dinner party. I mean, and fun, right? Because clearly it wouldn't be boring. It would be exciting.
Oh, no way.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm jealous of your dinner party. I think that's awesome. And again, thank you. And I'll just stand there in the background and be like, you can't see me, but I'm taking notes. And they just said this. Okay, good. All right. That's what I would do. And then of course I wouldn't be able to understand my notes later, but that's a different issue altogether. I am so excited to be working with you again and to be collaborating on this gift box. I just can't even tell you how psyched
I'm so glad we got it done.
Me too. I'm so glad that this idea that I had in my
even with all our craziness and our just crazy lives, I'm glad we got it done.
Me too. I'm so excited. We have so many great things to come, and I am really, really psyched. We're going to have them up on your website and on my website. And I'll put in my show notes, I'll put the links so that people can go to our websites and check them out and see what other awesome things we have to offer.
It's going to be a great, even Mother's Day gift for, the mamas to be. Don't forget about the moms to be for Mother's Day.
Yes.
Because they're mamas too.
Darn right. And I'm going to, before I end this podcast, I'm going to say, sometimes mamas to be are forgotten. I was one of them. I was pregnant and I was in the hospital on Mother's Day. Oh gosh, it was an unexpected. Had elevated blood pressure at the doctor's office on a Friday, and she sent me right down to labor and delivery, and my blood pressure got higher and higher and higher, and I was diagnosed on Mother's Day with preeclampsia. Now luckily it was mild, but I was still in the hospital. I couldn't celebrate Mother's Day. Luckily I wasn't genuinely forgotten because my husband was there and my family was there. But if I had had this gift box at the time,
I was just going to say that.
Just saying, just a little note to self, people. Well, this is note to you, not to self, because it was a note to me that wouldn't make sense because this was 3 years ago, but I digress. Irene, thank you so incredibly much for hanging out with me today and talking about all of this incredible stuff and this awesome box that we're putting together. I can't wait for people to see it. And I'm excited. I'm proud of us. And
I'm thrilled. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.